The Chilling Journey, a true road trip horror story. Road trips are often romanticized in our culture. The open road, the freedom to explore, the sense of adventure. However, not all road trips end in laughter and memories of beautiful landscapes. Some descend into the kind of horror that lingers in the mind long after the journey is over. This is the true story of one such road trip, a journey that began with excitement but quickly turned into a nightmare. In the summer of 2006, three friends, Mark, Lisa, and Kevin, decided to embark on a cross-country road trip across the United States. They planned to travel from New York to California, stopping at various landmarks and scenic spots along the way. The trip was meant to be a break from their stressful lives, a chance to reconnect and enjoy the beauty of America. The first few days were everything they had hoped for. They visited Niagara Falls, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, and the majestic landscapes of the Great Plains. The friends shared laughs, sang along to their favorite songs, and enjoyed the open road. But as they ventured into the more remote areas of the country, the trip took a darker turn. It was on a desolate stretch of highway in Nebraska that they first encountered trouble. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the empty road, when their car suddenly broke down. Stranded in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone reception, they had no choice but to wait for help. After several hours, a car finally appeared on the horizon. The driver, a middle-aged man named Rick, seemed friendly enough and offered to tow their car to a nearby town. Relieved, the trio accepted his help and climbed into his truck. As they drove, Rick began to ask increasingly personal questions. His demeanor grew more unsettling with each passing mile. Mark, sensing something was off, tried to deflect the questions, but Rick persisted. The atmosphere in the truck became tense. When they arrived at the town, a small, run-down place that seemed eerily quiet, Rick insisted they stay at his place for the night, claiming there were no hotels nearby. The friends, feeling uneasy but with little choice, reluctantly agreed. Rick's house was an old, creaky farmhouse on the outskirts of town. Inside, it was cluttered and dimly lit, with a strange musty smell. Rick showed them to a small guest room and left them to settle in. As soon as he was gone, the three friends whispered their concerns to each other. Something about the situation felt wrong, but they decided to stay for the night and leave first thing in the morning. That night, Mark woke up to a strange noise coming from outside the room. He quietly got up and crept to the door, peering out into the dark hallway. He saw Rick standing at the end of the hall, staring at their door with a blank, unsettling expression. Mark quickly closed the door and locked it, waking Lisa and Kevin. They agreed to leave as soon as possible. In the early hours of the morning, they quietly gathered their things and tried to sneak out. But as they reached the front door, they found it locked from the outside. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. They searched for another way out, eventually finding a small window in the basement. Crawling through the window one by one, they managed to escape into the cool night air. They ran through the fields, not stopping until they reached the main road. With no car and no idea where they were, they walked until they found a gas station. The attendant at the gas station called the police, who arrived and took their statement. When they described Rick and his farmhouse, the officers exchanged worried looks. They informed their friends that Rick was a known criminal with a history of violence. He had been suspected in several disappearances, but had always managed to evade capture. Shaken but grateful to be alive, the friends were taken to a nearby town where they could arrange for transportation home. The road trip that had started with so much promise had ended in terror, leaving them with a story that would haunt them for years to come. In the aftermath, Mark, Lisa, and Kevin struggled to process what had happened. They each dealt with the trauma in different ways. Mark channeled his fear into writing, Lisa sought therapy, and Kevin became an advocate for travel safety. Their stories served as a chilling reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the most unexpected places. The lesson they took away from their harrowing experience was clear. Always trust your instincts and never take safety for granted. Their road trip was supposed to be an adventure, but it turned into a cautionary tale about the importance of vigilance and the potential darkness that can hide behind a friendly face. This true story of a road trip gone wrong serves as a stark reminder that sometimes the real horror is not found in ghost stories or urban legends, but in the people we encounter on our journey through life. True creepy and sinister road trip horror story. Road trips are supposed to be the epitome of freedom and adventure, an exhilarating journey where the destination is just an excuse to explore the vast expanse of the unknown. But for some, these voyages can turn into a nightmare. This is the true story of James and Emily, whose road trip across the United States in the summer of 2018 became a harrowing tale of survival and human evil. James and Emily, a couple in their late 20s, had been planning their cross-country road trip for months. James, an aspiring photographer, wanted to capture the diverse landscapes of America, while Emily, a writer, sought inspiration for her next novel. They meticulously mapped out their route, starting from New York and ending in San Francisco, with plans to visit national parks, historic sites, and quirky roadside attractions along the way. The first few days were everything they had hoped for. They meandered through the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, admired the skyline of Chicago, and gazed in awe at the badlands of South Dakota. Every night, they found a cozy motel or campground to rest, sharing laughs and stories over campfires and cheap wine. The journey was going smoothly, and their social media accounts were flooded with picturesque photos and cheerful updates. It was in Montana, however, that their trip took a dark turn. They had decided to take a detour through the lesser-known roads to experience the untouched beauty of the countryside. On one particularly desolate stretch of highway, they encountered an old rusted sign for a scenic overlook that promised a breathtaking view of the mountains. Intrigued and always eager for a good photograph, James convinced Emily to take the detour. The narrow road twisted and turned through dense forests, the canopy of trees creating a tunnel that blocked out the sun. The further they went, the more uneasy Emily felt. The road was poorly maintained, with potholes and overgrown vegetation making the drive difficult. After what seemed like an eternity, they reached a clearing with a small parking area. They were the only ones there. James eagerly grabbed his camera and bounded out of the car, while Emily reluctantly followed. The view was indeed stunning, with the mountains looming majestically in the distance, bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. For a moment, they forgot their unease and reveled in the beauty before them. But as the light began to fade, Emily insisted they head back before it got too dark. As they returned to the car, they noticed something odd. Another vehicle, a beat-up old pickup truck, had pulled in behind them, blocking their exit. A tall, wiry man with unkempt hair and a wild look in his eyes stood leaning against the truck, watching them intently. A shiver ran down Emily's spine. James, trying to appear calm, greeted the man and asked if he needed help. The man didn't respond right away. Instead, he continued to stare, his eyes darting between James and Emily. Finally, he spoke in a gravelly voice. "Beautiful view, isn't it? You folks lost." James, still trying to keep things friendly, explained that they were just passing through and would be leaving shortly. The man's demeanor shifted, a sinister smile creeping across his face. "Oh, you don't want to be driving these roads after dark. Dangerous place, you know." James and Emily exchanged nervous glances. James thanked the man for his advice and suggested they leave. But as they moved towards their car, the man stepped forward, blocking their path. "Hold on a minute," he said. "How about you folks join me for a drink? Got some moonshine in the truck." Panic started to set in. Emily, sensing the danger, grabbed James' arm and whispered, "We need to go. Now." James nodded, trying to remain composed. "Thanks, but we really need to get going," he said firmly. The man's smile faded, replaced by a menacing glare. "I insist," he growled. James and Emily backed away slowly, the man following their every step. In a sudden burst of adrenaline, James lunged for the car door, yanking it open and pushing Emily inside. He jumped in after her, slamming the door shut just as the man reached them. The truck roared to life, and James floored the accelerator, the tires screeching as they sped away. Their hearts pounded as they raced down the dark, winding road, the headlights of the pickup truck glaring in their rearview mirror. The man was chasing them. James pushed the car to its limits, navigating the treacherous path with white-knuckled intensity. Emily clung to her seat, praying they would make it out alive. After what felt like an eternity, they saw the lights of a small town in the distance. The pickup truck abruptly turned off onto a side road, disappearing into the night. James and Emily didn't stop until they reached the safety of a well-lit gas station. Shaking and breathless, they recounted their ordeal to the attendant, who advised them to report the incident to the local authorities. The sheriff listened to their story with a grave expression. He explained that there had been several reports of a man matching their description, preying on travelers in the area. Despite numerous attempts, the authorities had been unable to catch him. He assured James and Emily that they would investigate, but warned them to be cautious as they continued their journey. The couple spent a restless night in a nearby motel, haunted by the memory of their close encounter. They considered cutting their trip short, but ultimately decided to press on, vowing to stick to well-traveled routes and avoid isolated areas. The rest of their journey was uneventful, but the fear lingered, a constant reminder of how quickly things can turn sinister. James and Emily's road trip had started as a quest for adventure and inspiration, but it ended with a lesson in the darker side of human nature. They had set out to explore the beauty of the country, only to be confronted by its dangers. Their story serves as a chilling reminder that the open road holds both wonders and terrors, and that sometimes the most frightening monsters are the ones who walk among us. Today, James and Emily look back on their experience with a mix of relief and lingering dread. They continue to travel, but with a newfound caution and a deeper appreciation for the unpredictable nature of life. Their harrowing ordeal is a testament to their resilience and a sobering reminder that true horror often lies just off the beaten path. A journey into darkness. The true story of the Jameson family disappearance. In the heart of Oklahoma, where the winds whisper through the tall prairie grass and the sunsets paint the sky with a haunting palette, lies a story so chilling it has carved itself into the annals of modern-day folklore. This is the true, harrowing tale of the Jameson family, a road trip that spiraled into one of the most perplexing disappearances in recent American history. Setting the scene, the Jamesons were an unassuming family from Eufaula, Oklahoma. Bobby Dale Jameson, his wife Sherilyn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison were known to their neighbors as a quiet, reclusive family. Bobby and Sherilyn had faced their share of struggles. Bobby was involved in a car accident that left him with chronic back pain, and Sherilyn battled with bipolar disorder. Despite these challenges, they seemed determined to carve out a new path for themselves. In October 2009, the Jamesons set out on a trip that they hoped would lead to a fresh start. They planned to purchase a 40-acre plot of land in the remote Sans Bois Mountains, about 30 miles from their home. It was a move fueled by a desire to live off the grid, away from the complications of modern life. The disappearance, the last known sighting of the Jameson family, was on October 8, 2009. They were captured on a security camera outside their home, loading their truck with what appeared to be camping supplies. Their journey took them deep into the wilderness, along a maze of rural roads toward their intended property. Days later, on October 16, hunters stumbled upon the Jamesons' abandoned truck on a dirt road in Latimer County. The scene inside of the vehicle was bizarre and deeply unsettling. The family's dog Maisie was found in the truck, severely malnourished but alive. The vehicle contained the Jamesons' IDs, wallets, cell phones, Sherilyn's purse, and $32,000 in cash. Even more puzzling was the fact that their GPS device indicated the family had ventured up a nearby hill but did not return. The investigation, law enforcement agencies from multiple jurisdictions launched an extensive search operation, scouring the rugged terrain with the aid of helicopters, ATVs, and cadaver dogs. Despite these efforts, no trace of the Jamisons was found. Theories about their disappearance ranged from foul play to a possible drug deal gone wrong, given the large sum of money found in the truck. A critical piece of evidence emerged in the form of the Jamison surveillance footage. The video showed Bobby and Sherilyn in a trance-like state, moving robotically and making several trips back and forth from their house to the truck without speaking to one another. Some speculated this behavior could be attributed to drug use, while others suggested it might be a symptom of mental illness or spiritual distress. The discovery. For 4 long years, the fate of the Jamison family remained a mystery. Then on November 16, 2013, 2 hunters came across skeletal remains in a remote area less than 3 miles from where the family's truck had been found. The remains were scattered and showed signs of significant decomposition, making identification challenging. However, forensic testing confirmed that the bodies belonged to Bobby, Sherilyn, and Madison Jamison. The discovery of the remains brought some closure, but also raised further questions. The cause of death could not be determined due to the advanced state of decomposition. The positioning of the bodies suggested they had lain there for a significant period, but why they had left their truck and ventured into the wilderness remained a mystery. Theories and speculation. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged attempting to explain what happened to the Jamison family. One of the most prevalent theories involves spiritual warfare. Sherilyn's mother claimed that the family had become entangled in a spiritual battle, pointing to Bobby's interest in Satanism and Sherilyn's belief that their house was haunted. This theory was bolstered by the fact that Sherilyn had spray-painted bizarre messages on their storage container, hinting at cult involvement. Another theory suggests that the Jamisons fell victim to a cult. Their secluded lifestyle and the cryptic messages found in their home fed this narrative. However, no concrete evidence has ever been found to support this claim. A more grounded hypothesis revolves around a family dispute. Sherilyn's ex-husband had a tumultuous relationship with her and had previously threatened her life. Although he had an alibi for the time of the disappearance, some speculate that he might have had a role in the family's fate. The unanswered questions. Despite the various theories, the true circumstances of the Jamison family's disappearance remain unresolved. How did a family excursion to purchase land end in such a macabre fashion? Why did they abandon their truck and trek into the wilderness? What led to their deaths? And why was such a significant amount of money left untouched in their vehicle? The Jamison family's story is a chilling reminder of how quickly a seemingly mundane road trip can descend into a nightmare. It underscores the unpredictable nature of life and the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown. The impact. The Jamison family's disappearance and subsequent discovery of their remains have left a lasting impact on the local community and beyond. For those involved in the search and investigation, it served as a sobering experience, highlighting the challenges of resolving missing persons cases in remote areas. For the public, the case remains a topic of morbid fascination and speculation. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers that can lurk even in the most serene and seemingly safe environments. The story has been featured in numerous documentaries, podcasts, and articles, each attempting to piece together the fragmented narrative of the Jamison family's final days. Conclusion. The road trip that the Jamison family embarked on in October 2009 was meant to be the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Instead, it became a journey into darkness, ending in their untimely and mysterious deaths. The true story of the Jamison family's disappearance is a haunting reminder that the world is full of enigmas that may never be fully understood. In the end, the Jamison family's fate serves as a stark example of the fragility of human plans and the often unfathomable nature of our existence. It challenges us to confront the reality that even in the age of information, there are still mysteries that elude explanation, lingering like shadows on the edge of our collective consciousness. The disappearance of the Yuba County Five, a sinister road trip. In the annals of American true crime, few cases are as perplexing and chilling as the disappearance of the Yuba County Five. This story, which unfolds like a sinister road trip horror tale, is steeped in mystery and tragedy. It involves the inexplicable vanishing of 5 young men in February 1978, their bodies later found under bizarre and haunting circumstances. The events that transpired during this ill-fated journey have puzzled investigators and captivated the public for decades, making it a cornerstone of American true crime lore. The setting: Yuba County, nestled in the heart of California, is a region known for its picturesque landscapes, sprawling forests, and remote wilderness areas. In the winter, the Sierra Nevada mountains, which form part of the county's northern boundary, are blanketed in snow, turning the area into a serene yet unforgiving environment. It was against this backdrop that the harrowing saga of the Yuba County Five unfolded. The characters. The central figures in this real-life horror story were Gary Mathias, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Jack Hewitt, and Ted Weiher. These men, all in their 20s or 30s, were friends who bonded over their love of sports, particularly basketball. They were part of a local program for the mentally handicapped, as each of them had varying degrees of intellectual disabilities or psychiatric conditions. Despite their challenges, they led relatively normal lives and were well loved by their families and community. The road trip begins. On February 24, 1978, the 5 men set out from their homes in Yuba City for a trip to Chico, California, about 50 miles away. Their destination was a college basketball game that they had been eagerly anticipating. They left in Jack Madruga's turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego, a car he cherished and took great pride in maintaining. The game ended around 10 p.m., and witnesses confirmed that the group left the arena in high spirits. They stopped at a nearby market, buying snacks and sodas before starting their journey home. This seemingly mundane trip took a dark turn when they never returned. The search begins. When the men did not come home the next day, their families grew concerned and reported them missing. A massive search operation was launched, involving local law enforcement, volunteers, and even the National Guard. The initial searches focused on the route between Chico and Yuba City, but there was no sign of the Mercury Montego or its passengers. Days turned into weeks, and the mystery deepened. On March 28, a breakthrough came when a forest ranger spotted the missing car on a remote mountain road in the Plumas National Forest, far off their intended route. The car was abandoned, stuck in a snowdrift. Yet it was in working condition and had a quarter tank of gas. Inside, investigators found the wrappers from the snacks they had purchased, maps of California, and the car keys left in the ignition. The baffling clues. The discovery of the car raised more questions than answers. Why had the men driven up a winding mountain road more than 50 miles from the nearest town in treacherous winter conditions? It was a route none of them were familiar with, and there was no logical reason for them to be there. Adding to the mystery, the car showed no signs of significant damage, indicating it had not skidded or been forced off the road. The area where the car was found was remote and desolate, a place where it would be impossible to survive for long without proper equipment or experience. The unfolding tragedy. As the snow melted with the arrival of spring, the search intensified in the area surrounding the car. On June 4, a group of motorcyclists came across a Forest Service trailer, about 20 miles from where the car had been found. Inside, they discovered the body of Ted Weiher. He had died of starvation and exposure, wrapped in several layers of sheets. Next to him lay his shoes, and on a table nearby were personal effects, including a wallet with cash, a gold necklace, and a ring. The trailer had been broken into through a window, and there were ample supplies of canned food, but the cans had not been opened. Further searches revealed the skeletal remains of Bill Sterling and Jack Hewitt nearby. Both had succumbed to the elements. Gary Mathias, whose disappearance remains one of the most perplexing aspects of the case, was never found, though some of his belongings were discovered near the trailer. Jack Madruga's body was also found, showing signs of extreme weight loss and exposure. Theories and speculations. The inexplicable decisions and eerie circumstances surrounding the Yuba County Five have led to numerous theories. Some speculate they were chased up the mountain by unknown assailants. However, there was no evidence of foul play or a struggle. Others suggest they got lost and, in a state of panic, took the wrong turn, leading them deeper into the wilderness. This theory, while plausible, does not explain why they left the safety of the car and ventured into the harsh, snow-covered terrain. Another theory posits that Gary Mathias, who had a history of psychiatric issues, may have had an episode that led the group astray. His military training might have given him a false sense of confidence in navigating the wilderness, leading them on a fatal trek. Yet, this does not account for the strange behavior of not using the ample supplies in the trailer or the state in which Wire's body was found. The lingering mystery. Decades later, the case of the Yuba County Five remains an unsolved enigma. It is a chilling reminder of how a seemingly simple road trip can spiral into a nightmare of confusion and death. The barren, snow-covered landscape of the Plumas National Forest, where the bodies were found, continues to hold its secrets, leaving the families and investigators with more questions than answers. The story of the Yuba County Five is not one of ghosts or supernatural occurrences, but of real human tragedy set against an unforgiving wilderness. It underscores the thin line between safety and peril, the fragility of human life when faced with nature's relentless forces, and the enduring impact of unexplained loss. As with many true horror stories, the fear it evokes comes from the unknown and the inexplicable actions that led five friends from a joyous basketball game into the depths of a dark, wintry forest, never to return home alive.